This call is
Sure,
being
thank you.
recorded.
So I see you got a progress chart report,
Mhm.
which is awesome. And then I saw your chart and I was like, oh wow, there's a lot to talk about because um you have quite the chart. Um
Do I?
I oh yeah, I always like to start these readings off the top, and I'm very glad and proud to say, my friend, that right off the bat, before we can even go in to the actual progress chart reading, without making this too much of a natal chart reading, you, my
Mhm.
friend, are an alien. You have an alien construct in your chart. So we definitely have to reference that to see where you progress. Once again, you have an amazing chart. You born with your rising in Cancer. Oh my gosh. You were born in Super Sagittarius with the moon in Taurus on Destiny. So gangster. So gangster. But like, gangster because like you got the sun next to Saturn and Uranus, so you were born Saturnian and Uranian power alien. So I'm gonna share the link to that. This is
Okay.
so cool because I love doing progressions. The most fascinating progressions to me are progressions out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn because Sagittarius progressions are indicator of the Sagittarius transit in general, but progressions are an indicator of God consciousness. So you were born stepping into this adventure of God consciousness. This, of course, is because the last four zodiac signs are collective. As your opposite sign, Gemini, I'm an individual zodiac sign, and I'm opposite the first collective zodiac sign. I'm the collective, whereas individuals, I'm talking to you one on one. And
Mhm.
Gemini's specialty normally is to talk to people one on one because we're an individual air sign, unlike Libra, that's more of a social air sign that can perform as an artist to like a crowd and the audience. And then
Mhm.
Aquarius also collective, which represents the whole like sociological community. So Sagittarius is the first vision and adventure that steps out there, which is cool. But it's also cooler because this is also an homage to being the God zodiac sign, since this pertains to everything, hence God consciousness. So to see that you got the progress chart, which is like, okay, not only are you gangster, you're super gangster because you want to know your progress chart, and we know that you progressed in the Capricorn, and so you went from being this alien construct to the Neptune, like you progressed onto your Neptune and Capricorn, which is super awesome. This is giving you incredible abilities of ascension induced by your relationships with other people in the seventh house. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna go into how like incredible that is because now you're stepping into the God conscious progression of graduation. When you progress in Capricorn, you've
Mhm.
graduated. You're learning the lesson of graduation because after you step into Aquarius now, you're going to step into ascended mastery after you've graduated the last four. I like to call it the God conscious arc, where you're coming into the last four elements of the collective signs to be an assistance, humanity, and complete, of course, this last path of the path. The thing about being born as a collective spirit is that because
Mhm.
interestingly enough, we see your moons in Taurus, your rising is in um, Cancer, which are both individual signs. So, I'm going to make a series about this soon, but this would make you an individual collective, which is cool because I'm actually a collective individual because my moon's in Capricorn. So that means as a collective spirit, everything that you're aware of is going to reflect how the world sees you and how you see the world. So stuff you see in the world, you're going to reflect as is happening into your life. And stuff that happens in your life and lessons you learn will reflect what's
Mhm.
happening in the world, which is not normal at all. That's actually very supernatural because as a Sag Sun, you are the spirit of the creator god or the creator god or the creator. And so that's one thing, but then having super gangster Saturn like right next to you when you were born means you have the authority of this fire magic with your brain with Mercury that can process this phenomena and able to communicate the behavior of lifestyles of the meaning of experience or being able to really think bigger picture. But the moon in Taurus now adds an individual quality to how you feel individually, especially as a Cancer rising personally, about how you're aware of this collective phenomena of being everything and seeing everything. And Uranus adds literal unconventional quality to how genius you are and how you're here to literally innovate and bust the system with which is why I really respect Saturn Uranus because for the 90s, which have like Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn and Capricorn, it picked off of
Mhm.
y'all, the late that started this in Sag and really changed the game, especially with you having Chiron natal and progressed in Gemini, which is healing communication, which is you have a frequency in your voice that literally heals people. Now, because this is real life and not a perfect world, it's gonna trigger the shit out of people. And the truth will piss people off. It sets them free. Sag is blunt and Saturn is uncompromising, so you're just going to show people the truth whether they can handle it or not. And thankfully, it'll still like release unconscious thoughts for them. But the reason why my astro nerd is like going crazy, and I think this is super awesome, is because the South in Sagittarius right now is what 4 degrees, and you're unlocking these abilities for the first time. And so now that we bring into account your progress chart, we know that your sun has progressed 9 degrees Capricorn. And not only has your rising progressed from Leo, but your moon is in Leo too. You've just completed a full moon transit. Congratulations. I clap for you. I recently finished full moon in Capricorn, so as a Gemini, I had to progress Cancer and the moon in Cap. We kind of just did that opposition, but the reason why that's important is because when you go through a full moon progress opposition, the lunar progress cycle will tell you everything you need to know about where you are in a stage of life. You just finished completion. So when I went through my full moon, I had like literally during that period, I broke through into a full-time job. It was like a success transit for me that I'm just harvesting right now. So for moon and Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra progress, you're going to be harvesting this full moon. Once you step into the actual third quarter square, then you're going to get prepared to step into the new moon in Aquarius subsequently, which actually, no, no, no. What's going to happen for you is you're going to have the new moon in Capricorn. Then you're going to go into Aquarius, have the full moon in Leo because you were born um, right after, you were born right before full moon and at the
Mm.
beginning of the, which is cool because that means when you have the full moon before the new moon, you're very advanced. And clearly we can see that because you're born with these godly alien constructs. So you had the full moon in Gemini and completed Sagittarius before you ended the Sag progression with a new moon cycle. It means that you complete the sign lessons advanced and early, but you start the new cycle at the end of the sign for the max peak effect. And the reason why, once again, this is very super badass is because you were born a high priestess, and as a high priestess, right, or as a cardinal bishop of sincerity, being the Cancer rising, you were born with the vibration of natural integrity, being, of course, the natural. No, no, I'm sorry, natural ascension, being, of course, the natural creator. And it's cooler because you have the South Node in Scorpio, which is actually coming around a nodal return for you. So destiny is literally realigning for you over the next 20-year cycle. And you're taking the resources next year of your pure creativity and the hidden understanding of the wealth within so that you can solidify this community and legitimate success which you've worked super hard for and deserve. And you're creative, you're a representative of the creator and God goddess energy. So like with Uranus here, you're literally here to show people things they've never seen before, like high level
Mhm.
magic, visualization, and you can literally, as you see in the article, channel high frequency beings and create anything and manifest anything to third dimensional form. Recognize ego driven schemes and leaders with Saturn. You can turn time backwards and forwards. And the reason why I'm saying all this is with the South Node that's literally on here and the North Node that went over your natal Chiron, you're unlocking these advanced abilities in a way that take into account post Saturn return, your power return. And so you have Cancer rising, Leo rising, you're now in the solar queen Jackie, which is important because your moon has made it past the full moon, and now it's in the eighth. You're transforming into this progressed nature of your personality, where you're receptive to the royal courage and boldness and love of self, which, if you're doing it right, has to feel like narcissism because Leo is narcissism. So, like,
Mhm.
you're having to be aware of the integrity of character as you're coming into your natal seventh house, but your progressed sixth house. So you're integrating the integrity that you show up to really hold others accountable to being great and to not being an asshole and really holding others accountable to saying what they'll do, which is kind of tough because to be in the Senate, you're going to have to see people who don't have integrity and kind of just have to be the bigger person. But it's cool because you have to maintain that while also still being the diva. And that can clash because sometimes Capricorn can be so driven to do what's right that it doesn't give itself the opportunity to do what it wants. And that's where the moon in Leo is like, I'm going to be a diva first before I do the right thing. And that actually sounds so horrible because that's not actually what it's like. It doesn't have to sound like that, but like this is really you coming into and transforming how much deeper intimacy you have with yourself. The reason why this is important is because when the progressed moon goes into Virgo, you're going to now come into light of the steps to move you forward with coming into a deeper understanding of the facts and the manifestation of the value as a Leo rising. So now you've progressed into having the vibration golden integrity. And the reason why this is even cooler is now we know that your progressed sun has moved next and alien constructs article, you definitely want to look up the Neptune power alien who can ascend, be mystical, dance the sacred dance, easily access the astral plane, sense the desires, dreams, and illusions of others. The reason why this is interesting is even though it's not exactly opposite your AC, because it's in the sign ruled by the seventh house, Cancer risings born with Neptune and Capricorn are some of the most psychically powerful and intuitive, receptive individuals ever because you're rising into an instrument of the psychic power of feeling. And so when anyone steps in your seventh house, Neptune and Capricorn makes our bodies God broadband connectors, which literally link our physiological sense intuitive, making it intuitive physiological senses where it's not going to be just like an emotional feeling where you can feel someone's like anger or joy, but if someone maybe had a scratch on their arm, you might empathically feel it. If someone was full of crap, your body's just going to like give you this sensation, physical sensation that's like, BS detector. This person's full of crap. This person's full of crap. And you're always going to be right. Not almost always going to be right. Because if we took this out the equation, you can't lie to Sagittarius. Sagittarius sees you. Sagittarius is
Mhm.
that one sign, right? That's just not without warning is just going to ghost you. And people will be like, wow, why did you do that? And they're just like, because they're full of crap. And no one else can see that. And then you're always right. You end up being right. So then on top of the Sag energy, you also have this Neptune seventh house energy, which your body will physically react, which is super gangster too, because your moon's in Taurus. So like you actually also ground that power and you like really feel it because your moon is exalted in Taurus. So like you're destined to with the link to North Node, but like you can actually ground so strong this intuitive sense that will make more real what you're feeling instead of it just being in your head, which is
Mhm.
important because thank you for that confirmation. It's very important because this is the difference between because a lot of everything I'm saying now about Neptune is technically controversial because science will tell you that this is bullshit. Like, there's no such thing as intuition like that or astro. But
Yeah.
realistically and scientifically speaking, right, there's not a single person that can step into your presence where within moments you won't feel, if they have integrity or not. Like, this is
Mhm.
textbook supernatural ability. And because you have a Cancer rising, not only do you have the physical sensation, but now as a Cancer rising, you will also match the emotional feeling. So you have best of both worlds. And that's what matches your sincerity with the integrity. So it's a really amazing combination. So now that you've progressed into Capricorn, now you're aware of this value of your intuition that you manifest as a creator. Because I have this too, but as a Gemini. So
Mhm.
I don't manifest this like you do because I don't have that high level of awareness of God consciousness that you do. I do have angelic awareness, which is enlightened, but it's not ascended like yours. So you're more aware now with this progression direct on this to where it's not even so much that you just sense it. You can actually see directly how on someone's body language, and because this has progressed into the sixth house, how the integrity of their character influences their behavior. This is actually super powerful. And Venus has progressed into Capricorn too. And so this is going to really balance how much integrity you take forth in valuing your time and the order and organization that once again goes into really connecting with other people. Because we know Venus was in Scorpio for you, in the same
Mhm.
sign as a part of your South Node. So, it really speaks to the pure heart, the extremely pure heart, value and wisdom that goes into the skills and the talents. Since this is fifth house, you were born with very purely creative talents that you express at a heart level. The South Node mastery of skills that we're taking this lifetime, so that, which is cool, when you have the North Node in the 11th, you're taking the skills you've mastered this lifetime so that you can invest them into a group, create a group, join a group, or organization, and to really make the dream work, which thankfully Taurus is individual. So this could be one that you individually create or you invest in individually. No, that's not necessarily limited to just individuality, but
Mhm.
now we know that Venus is this pure sense of beauty. Because if it was just fifth house Scorpio, it'd be like, wow, that's very pure, extreme energy. But it's fifth house Scorpio with Pluto and Venus. So it's a very extreme, pure energy, but it's polished. It actually looks neat, beautiful, and it's very purely talented. So now this went through Sagittarius, and the pure nature of your heart, which um, should gain extreme quality, has gained ascension through Sagittarius. It went through the gauntlet of your natal chart energies and literally now took that pureness and extreme strength of psychological wisdom and ascended it into gaining a wanderlust of freedom and integrating into your lifestyle. And then after going through Sagittarius and expanding, it's now in Capricorn, where it's gained greater control to direct its focus after exploring what your heart really wants versus now
Mhm.
solidifying and grounding it, which is very beautiful because it seems to be the progressed planet leading everything. And we can say the same for Sag. The principle of Sagittarius was expansion with Jupiter. The ruler of your sixth house is actually in the eighth house for you in Aquarius. Congratulations to your Saturn return and Saturn that will eventually go over Jupiter. Your progressed Jupiter is actually what, 18 degrees right now. So this is enabling you, while it's in your progressed seventh, to go through with transiting Saturn, transiting Jupiter, and progressed Jupiter and natal Jupiter, a relationship expansion right now. So, in an indirect sense, if you find that your partnerships are evolving and you're coming into controlled opposition and limitations from how you have to maintain courage and independence from what other people think, while these karmic lessons are preparing you for marriage, or you're processing divorce, or you're coming into a new business partnership, that's because of all the seventh house energy that you cleared last year, 2020, but now you're coming into the progression. So it's like you're balancing and integrating the transformation of the extraordinary quality of your partnerships. And we're going to really come into more of this Libra season to Aquarius season, which should really be amazing because you already did all the work. Since you're coming at the other end of it with the progressed Capricorn, you did most of the work at the beginning of the year. So you're coming into reaping it at the end before you recycle it. But the cool thing is that expansion of Jupiter is why the Sag transit, like everything after Virgo Libra, is pretty awesome because Libra is the fall of the sun. And it's the story of Lucifer, how, he took a third of the angels with him. This is why Libra
Mhm.
sun is fallen angel territory, because it's a third of the three air signs, the three heavens. And then people think that Lucifer is damned forever, but really the story of that is he progresses through um, Scorpio, and then after Scorpio goes through Sagittarius and ascends again, to which
Mhm.
integrity is reestablished in Capricorn. So the expansion through Sagittarius now, and after purity and apotheosis in Scorpio, takes one through Sagittarius. And Jupiter expands, and it's like, okay, now that you're coming into God consciousness, you're coming into the four qualities of God, the all-seeing eye of God, which is all seeingness through Sagittarius, to see into the meaning of everything. So Jupiter expands everything that's possible. You go on an adventure of discovery, boom, then you go into Capricorn, the principle that is Saturn constriction. And after you've expanded to see every possibility, Capricorn is going to focus onto one single point. Now you've seen everything that's possible. You've seen the meaning. You've seen into infinity. Now the lesson of Capricorn is omnipotence, doing everything. And this is why Sagittarius can do it all, because you manifest all power in Capricorn. And so the lesson of Capricorn and the progression is, now that you're graduating, now that you're stepping fully into God consciousness and you're stepping literally into your power, you're learning the lesson of integrity, where Sagittarius was a lesson of freedom. Now that you're going to actually constrict this to a single point and take action and literally learn how to do it all, or to really focus this in a specialized field, now because you're coming into the collective responsibility of other people with the seventh house, sixth house Capricorn, where the actions you take towards other people can literally affect and change their whole life, even if it's just an idea given and there's a responsibility for that, right? This, of course, is the lesson of Capricorn integrity, to make sure that every action is aligned correctly. And then, boom, you graduate. And then you step into Aquarius, where now that you know how to do everything, now you're stepping into collective omniscience, knowing everything. And you're going to get that 21 years from now, because you're progressed 9 degrees. And with that progression of 9 Capricorn, this is what's going to lead you into Aquarius 21 years from now, where you'll officially start 0 degrees of the Aquarius transit. And of course, now that we're stepping into the Cap transit, um, what's very unique about this has much to do with your alien construct, because you were born with this proximity next to Saturn. I relate, because I have my moon like right next to Saturn. So we're
Hmm.
both karmic birds of some sorts. I have Uranus also on my moon. It's not next to it, kind of like yours. So this is unconventional. You're someone who's here, of course, to really innovate systematic structures. And I just kind of want to mark that, like with Saturn next to your sun, I mean, 50 Cent, I see as a gangster. He has Saturn on his sun in Cancer. So this really speaks to this no nonsense, serious approach to how you're able to materialize a lot. Once again, if you think that 50 Cent, I'd like to reference 50 Cent because he has Saturn on Sun in
Hmm.
Cancer, which is a water sign. And this person made over $10 million selling water. That would be funny to me. It's like, wow, like that is genius. So like,
Yeah.
this would speak to, maybe you're not selling fire, right? But like, this really speaks to the empire and the power that you're able to, in this case, near the sixth, integrate in the service for other people as a natural creator. But now you're the golden director, and you're coming up on the natal seventh house to really direct the nature of relationships you show up for. While as a progressed Leo rising, you're organizing this integrated sense of lifestyle behavior with and for others. We know that Jupiter has progressed a bit, and most importantly, your MC has now made it to your destiny. So as a Leo rising, you're coming up on monopoly energy, where your MC, which was in Pisces, which is very important, because MC in Pisces is one of the highest level legacies you could have. It's a divine legacy. Neptune is here. It's helping your dream life come true. But as a Cancer rising, it makes you a consultant or a counselor or a teacher of the divine, where you advise people on certain metaphysical constructs. The misleading thing about this is Pisces is wonderfully vague. So, I mean, you can teach people about this being a bank teller or an atheist, where you may not even believe in the divine, but like when people listen to you, they're going to really think outside the box. They're going to really think abstract about these things, because you show people the unseen in a vibe and help them feel this, right? So your
Hmm.
legacy next year when Jupiter goes, it's going to go to the next level. So it's awesome. Now it's gone through Aries, because your 10th house is still Aries, and authority, but your MC is in Taurus. So what that means now, 10th house to your MC, your AC in Leo, is that this is actually super awesome, because the time, and this always really trips me out, because you're progressed Capricorn now, and Capricorn is all about timing, and so the
Hmm.
timing of this is really godly, in that the North Node's going into Taurus next year. So while you're realigning destiny, your progressed legacy is manifesting right now. The divine nature of your legacy, which is magic, is manifesting groundedly right now, which with Uranus transiting is manifesting a monopoly, an unconventional legacy that no one else has ever seen before, which I like to equate to monopoly because this is gonna virtually give you no competition. Like no one's gonna be able to copy what you're doing because you're solidifying this uniqueness of your brand. Even if it's something no someone else is doing, it's so unique unto yourself. But the fact that that MC is now aligning with your North Node and natal North Node, your natal moon is feeling into the alignment of what you're meant to do
Mhm.
along with what you're destined to do.
Mm.
Yeah, so the North Node coming in next year, while Jupiter is on your Pisces, next year in 2023 is going to fatedly, and I just made up the word fatedly, align your career to where everything that you've done up to this point was to lead you to next year, where your career is going to naturally solidify the worth and value of your legacy and what you've been meant to accomplish, which is everything that, you know, you deserve to step into. Congratulations in advance. And I really hope that resonates for
Yeah, definitely. That was a lot.
you. Oh, yes. Do you have
um,
any, you can interrupt or ask questions if you want. Did you have any questions?
no, I wasn't coming into this with any expectation, so I didn't know what to ask, but that was just a lot, and I am super appreciative that your excitement and your knowledge was able to provide all of that. So, no, I guess the only question is I do get the recording, right?
Absolutely. I'm going to send you this recording right after, and you'll
Cool.
see in the email if I have permission to post this on YouTube, I will. If not, I'll just keep this private.
Um, yeah, can you leave names out of it?
Yeah, I mean, but what would you like me to put?
Just initials.
Okay, just JH.
Hmm.
Gotcha, I can do that. And I really appreciate it. Once again, it's not necessary, it's not mandatory to upload. So if you don't
Yeah,
mind, I really do. That's awesome.
yeah, that's fine.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well, I'll make sure to do that. And once again, thank you so much for calling in. I would really look into the alien constructs because now that you're unlocking this extra dimensional magic and power um, in ways that make you a leader, because science hasn't caught up to this yet, it's going to really help formulate how to move forward with this and to really enjoy these new abilities that you've had your whole life, but you have more control over and knowledge of.
Okay. Cool. Do you have any resources that you would recommend?
Great question. I'm going when you get the recording, it's going to come with the article. So I would start
Okay.
with that for sure. And I even had a reading from her. It was the best reading of my life. What was one of the at least like top five best readings. And I missed the first one. I had to wait 4 months. I had to wait 4 months, missed it, had to wait another 4 months, and it was still really good. So it would
Okay.
definitely be worth it to invest in a reading with her because she'll see the alien constructs in your chart and she
Hmm.
will hook you up. She's the
Okay.
author of the article.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you.